Well, hello there, everybody. Happy Prosperity Day, Monday for the rest of the world, but that's okay. We're good with it no matter what. So, welcome everyone. Good to see you. Speaking favor of us over us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Trust you are where you want to be. I don't know. When I think about that, hey, listen, I can be where I want to be up here and here, but out here, a little strange. Anyway, we're all a prospering, as y'all know, and be a service to others because that's what the world needs a little bit more. A little bit more. Yeah. Let me see if I can get over here. There. Hey, chat room, what's up? Good to see everyone. Hello, all the moderators. Susan, Lori, there's a bunch of y'all in here. How are you doing? I tell you, I really, really enjoy these get-togethers. It's it's a reprieve. It's an enclave. It's a sabbatical. It allows us to come in and mix our energies together and see where everybody is at. Some people need a little lifting up and others need, I don't know if you can come back down. Why would you, right? I don't know. Hey, Delaney, good to see you, darling. Brian, hello. Matt Cal and Kelly, what's it? Linda Espinoza. How are you? Deborah, good to see you. Lisa, hello. What's up? Hello, Dick. How are you doing? So, y'all heard the story, right? That as I have read it, as the slide showed for the graphic. So this Blazar, Blazar is not a quasar, but it's apparently even more intense. I did a whole thing on this years ago. Never saw this company. No one did as well. Our scientists go, what the freak? So as the story is saying, they began to detect these waves. And these waves were signatures that they knew wasn't anything in the local neighborhood. I mean, galactically wise. And so they found it. And lo and behold, apparently this whole freaking galaxy just turned 90 degrees and facing us. And now it's sending out just, all kinds of stuff at us. Accelerated protons, and everything else. I mean, do you have a feeling that we're like in the bullseye of someone's target? It's like, who the hell is doing this? And I don't know why. I didn't even know that you could actually, a galaxy, I guess, could turn 90 degrees, but it did. And so wave at it because it's 656 million light years away. All right. I know that 1 light year is roughly 6 trillion miles. We've moved as a planet approximately 1.1 light years since century 0. So that's 6 trillion times 656 million. I mean, why even bother? It's a long ways out there, but hey, it goes to show you, the universe ain't big enough for all of us. Working with Ryder Lee, and this weekend was, preparing all of our taxes here in America. We have that famous date. I got to pay the man. Check always comes due. Always. Hey, Joe, what's up? Yeah, kind of like the train in the tunnel, and boom. Hey, Grace, what's happening? Yeah, it's messed up out there. Hello, Blanca. How you doing, darling? And Ben Greedy. And so, we're finding out that us humans, we're actually animals. We are of the simian branch of the tree of life, so to speak, because we're animals. I recently read that the average person today has no soul. I actually read that, and went, they must be listening. But so what is going on? I mean, it's like, okay, humanity. What is exactly what we're supposed to be doing here? is that infernal question, right? Maybe we can find out what the divine ones have to tell us. And this whole thing with cosmic rays, these things coming in from outer space, implying that there's an inner space. Where are we in that equation? Is Earth part of outer space, or is Earth part of the inner space? I don't know. You dip your cookie in whatever sauce you like, it's fine. But anyway, it's been my contention that whatever thing we were, I mean, part of the evolutionary aspect of nature itself and life, where we messed with, where there beings out there? Are there even beings out there? Is it truly like Sagan said, we're this little blue marble? It seems like we've been isolated. Seems like we've been quarantined. I read yesterday and got a chance to watch the Farsight Institute, good folks down there in Atlanta. So their remote viewer, she kind of confirmed what seems to be, the trending trend. This is a prison planet, which implies that, well, if we're a prison planet, does that mean we're quarantined? Are we isolated? You think about the nature of mankind, humankind. I mean, we're savages. We are. The animals look at us and shake their head. They do what they do because to survive. We're supposedly the upper echelon of the simian aspect of the animal kingdom. Didn't think so. Hold on one second, folks. Get that going. So anyway, someone wrote me and said, all right, I'm convinced. Unless there's magic, and then if that's how we came about at the blink of this or whatever, the person says, sign me up. I'm ready to start learning. How does that shit work? I mean, come on. You speak a word, and suddenly there is a golem. Got no soul, got no heart, but it's a golem. I mean, it can talk and it can think. I don't know. Hey, Paradox of Fossils, what's up? Consciously aware, everything is created within, therefore outer space is created within the inner space of consciousness. It's those swinging doors. Have y'all ever been in an office building in New York City? Brings to mind, did a lot of time there in New York City, and how what the revolving doors. I mean, that's actually happened to me. You're walking out, and you go right through the spinning doors, and you're trying to get out, and it's like the guy that got in, he pushes it. And that completely ruins the rhythm. Now you got no rhythm to, so now you look like a fool. You're walking around going, oh, hi, everybody. I'm really getting the hang of this. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Yeah. Ain't life a kick, man? It is truly a kick. All right. So I don't know if you've been up on this, Cheers, by the way, wherever you may be, whatever time of day or night. Speak in favor, baby. Anyway, so over the weekend, Really bad news for the United States, particularly our currency. We're about to be dethroned. And I believe I read this morning in the journal, 17 countries have already signed off the greenback and are now backing the Chinese currency. And, when you got countries like Brazil's a big deal. I mean, their economy, etc., great culture, by the way. And now Saudi Arabia, and it's cascading. Read today, even Mexico is now thinking about joining the BRICS, which is bad news for us, folks. Here in the United States, I'm just telling you, the greenback its days are limited. No doubt about it. It's coming to an end. And the plan is to bring in the Fed's digital currency. It's out there. It's being tested and perfected. A lot of integration into, the whole payment network. It's complicated. I ain't going to get into it. But anyway, it's coming. It's the only way it can happen. It's happened to other countries. Depending on what you believe, there are certain families, certain individuals that that's all they do. They get into a country and they purposely do whatever they can in policy to collapse that country's currency. For us, when we started monetizing our debt, that was the end of the American dollar. So where am I leading to all this? Well, what I'm leading to is what's already out there. Many of you know what a POS system. It's not a piece of shit. It's a point of sale. Although I have had customers who said, but anyway, I digress. So they're bringing it on. You see, the only way digital currency works is that it has to be kept into a digital environment. Now, I always look at us like we're kind of the analogs, Everybody likes to carry the cash, Look at Las Vegas. I remember the day when they'd actually dropped quarters, nickels, dimes, half dollars, and then you had silver dollars. I mean, cling, 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 cling. It drove you nuts. You became numb to it, but you would know someone who hit on one of the slot machines. They don't do that anymore. It's all digital. Now, you can convert that digital currency into what we would call the, depending on how you define it, the fiat currency, which are dollar bills. Everyone likes that. That's how you have an illegal market. You got cash. But with the digital dollar coming in, those days will become interesting. I have no doubt there will be developers that will develop a system that tries to bypass it. So where am I going to with all this? The only way this currency works is that if you are chipped, and let me show you something. This is not something new. When I was developing my mobile payment system, which set the way for all mobile payment systems, the thing that we discussed years ago, this was a paper from 2015. So this is not new technology. It's actually technology that has been vetted, and it's coming around the world. And the thing about it is, for instance, in this paper, this is the mobile embedded DNN and AI doesn't really matter. What I want you to see is that who is doing this. And this is using AI. So 5 years ago, discussions were already underway deeply in how to ingrain an AI application into this realm is all about money. It's all about accumulating. The top dog gets to say that I have the most money. And of course, depending on what your belief system, you've got gods out there that say, all the gold is mine. Stingy bastard. But anyway, so folks, this is already here. And my point to all this is this group. Now, this is the Beijing Innovative Center for Future Chips, ICFC. You need to watch these cats. Well, chances are they don't really care because they know what's about to be here. It's the Orwellian reality coming. And my whole point to all of this is that, look at this, AI-friendly memory, commodity memory, on-chip embedded memory, emerging memory. I wonder what AI would do to a human brain. I mean, are we looking at somehow, the depiction of Hollywood in one system that's a augmented AI system? What was that thing? I think it was the Avengers. So Tony Stark, had his AI, and all of a sudden, out of its AI, boom, a new AI. I don't talk about that. That's why everyone is freaked out and scared that, well, got good reason to be, let's say, concerned. So anyway, imagine what it will do for you. Look at this one. Artificial neural networks based on emerging non-volatile memory devices. Now, these are storing data, but it's what we're doing. We're storing data. I often wonder what all this is for, because I'll stop it right here. Let me get out of there and get this ready up here. I mean, isn't that what memory is all about, right? Data, sensation, feeling. Hey, Dave Sullivan, what's up? And so now it's in our payment system. Someone wrote me over the weekend. I didn't have much time because it was brutal, getting everything you have to do as your required citizenship. But someone said, man, you freaked me out. And apparently I freaked out his wife. And hold on one second, folks. Hold on one second. I'm back. But yeah, hey, it's a fact, man. It's everywhere. And you look at some of the changes that are coming, and then I'm thinking to myself, all right, so if really it's all about memory, my memories, I wonder what my memories are worth on a black market. Could you imagine a cartel, a syndicate that is all about basically before you die, they come in, suck out all your memory, and now your memory, all of your experiences, all of your pain, the whole thing, they now hold it in a chip and they put it up for sale. Now imagine if you're a voyeur, that's what it is. I mean, isn't God a voyeur? Aren't all demons and angels voyeurs? I mean, you think about it, there's some sick son of a bitches, and I mean, they're watching. I mean, that's sick. I mean, if you don't have a freaking life and you got to watch us, yeah, sick, man. But anyway, I digress. Carol says a movie called The Final Cut. I did not know that. That ain't true. It's a little puppy dog, that's all. So moving right on along. So are you going to get chipped? You get the notice from your bank, or in this case, most likely through the government itself. It says that they'll be setting up basically chipping centers. They already had a good rehearsal, so they know how it can work. And so in order for you to have access to your paycheck, access to your bank, savings, etc., in order for you to go into a store, you will have to have the chip. And now they don't even have to, put a chip in you. They got a process for laser imprinting. Puts all of they know. Some say that they are preparing us by, nanites. You simply take a pill, swallow a pill. It has nanites in it. And those nanites, little tiny robots, autonomous. And your body is basically a form of payment. Now, that patent has been issued and does exist. You want to know who owns it? Microsoft. Yeah. The human body as a bioorganism is perfect for within the stance of who you are. Hey, Taurus, so what's up? Shirley says, I'm trying to smoke mine out. You go, girl. Smart dust. Lots of stuff. Yeah. It's happening. They're going to do it. And so the question is, are you going to comply? When the order is given that either you have this mark, this chip, whatever you want to call it, or you ain't going to get anything to eat. You ain't going to be able to pay your bills. You won't be able to go, as I said, to a concert, to a restaurant. Won't be no more paper money. That's gone. And the credit cards will be almost in the same aspect. Each credit card would be handled just simply by programming. Folks, this is not science fiction. This is actually the real deal. I mean, it's messed up, granted. But you think about how many humans have already volunteered. You have a number of companies, both public and private. They're already chipping their employees. And the thing about it is, these employees are volunteering. They're not being coerced. They're not being forced. They're volunteering. I mean, think about it. I can wave my hand over a proximity sensor that would immediately pick up exactly my credentials, my security clearance, etc. Would also at the same time, what we would call the other half of the handshake. I have one half token. This other system has the other half token. And in order to put the token and exchange the token, the two halves have to come. And it's better than carrying, a card. It's better than carrying, punching in a numeric code. I'm reading some of the comments here. Yeah, I mean, this stuff it's impacting when you think about it, and on top of everything else. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen first. Is China going to attack us or are we going to be implementing this? I don't know, but it is the final nail in the coffin. I mean, won't be no more freedom after that. And the sad thing about it is that we've already know by detailed surveys and studies. Here's the scary part: the vast amount of the majority of the population will take it. Won't even question it. They're going to take it. A hunting we will go, a hunting we will go. I love this stuff. I mean, but the idea of this, think about your memories. What are your memories worth? You ever thought about that? I mean, it's the equation extended out as to what is a human soul worth? What is a human spirit worth? We say priceless, but really? Hey, Gilbert, what's up? Got your text, brother? Better get some dip with the chip. Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is they know people like us boomers, but here's the thing. You look at the, assisted living facilities, memory care facilities. Chipping the patients will be a godsend. I mean, you think about the implementation of 6G being integrated into the healthcare system. Whereas you're chipped, I don't need to spend a lot of extra money on other bedside equipment that your body is going to naturally send out the signal. I don't need to attach electrodes to you. I don't, in many cases, even need to put a needle in you. And getting back to this whole idea, so what are your memories worth? My wife said to me, she said, for yours, it will be like if someone could get a hold of my memories, now that's a trip to Disneyland. That's Wayne's World all over. And it's an exciting place, but man, I don't know how many could actually handle it. Hey, Robert V, what's up? But isn't it interesting? What are your memories worth? And then I could do data mining on your memories. I could get every aspect of your life because they're your memories, but take the essence of those moments. Oh man, there's no drug in the world that can equal that. Imagine that. Let me just pick someone here. Let's just say, Jen, how are you doing? So we got Jen's memories, and we have the complete bio on her. We know the evolution of her life here and those things that she was associated with and involved with. I mean, folks, this sounds weird, but not that weird at all. I mean, I guess to a certain extent, I mean, if those who supposedly created us are voyeurs, that would make us all voyeurs, right? So I'm probably giving out to it right now, and someone said, how the hell did he find out about this? Man, he's telling everybody. We've been keeping this off the radar, and now this dude is out there. How did he know that? I mean, yeah. Okay, yeah, let's Trouble says, yeah. So Jen, thank you for participating. I appreciate that. Much love to you today. Here, Mark Smith, how you doing? But that's interesting, though, Mark. You said that yours is filled with pain. I mean, you think about it. Pain is really valuable. In some cases, more valuable than pleasure. the intensity of pain, both emotionally, physically, spiritually. I mean, that's an elixir that is intense. Yeah. I mean, thank you, Marie. I'm just telling you, it's strange. And I don't think it's that strange. I mean, as a technologist, and I would say a futurist as well, I can see it becoming very valuable. I can see centers where the neuro link will be established, where if you are in need of some digital currency, you'll come to these centers and you'll sit down in a very comfortable chair, and they're going to give you a slight tranquilizer to get you fully relaxed. And that's why they're getting the neuro, and it can be either by helmet, it could be done by a number of different ways, but it's all designed to probe into your memories, your life experience. And so I can see, freelance businesses getting in here to, well, they'll pay you for your memories, maybe certain types of memories. But I figure it's like this: once they're inside of you, it's all, yeah. Hey, Linus, a guy, how you doing? Ooh, I like that. What hurts your heart fixes your vision. Yeah. Hey, folks, I'm just talking. I mean, I know it's coming. And I mean, once you get these bio interface devices into us, and who knows, maybe that's what they're doing. They actually admitted, the Pentagon has actually admitted, yeah, we're spraying. What? Yeah, Miley, the head cat. Yeah. So you mean all those crosses and crisscrosses and crazy stuff we see in the sky? You mean it's just not contrails? Yeah. Oh, good to hear that, Linus. John Price, what's up? So I don't know. Now, here's another part of it. So as time continues to do whatever time does, here's humanity and all living things, right? Well, it sheds, the memories of those who once lived here. Now, you think about this as a species. It's an interesting thing, whoever is manipulating us, how they did this. So you have this effect that when the elderly die, they die with all the knowledge, all the common sense experience, things that they learned about life, the lessons of life themselves. Imagine if you were able to capture that. Now, we've lost a number of generations, but the boomers would be most likely the ideal candidates, with, the Xers right behind us. That's a hell of a thing to think your generation is called Generation X. It's like, what the hell were they thinking? So Robin Williams, the final cut, I'll have to see that. I don't know if I've actually seen that. Liquid Parallax says nanotech. Yep. Hey, Gaia, what's up? How are you doing? Troy, hello. So I shot the sheriff. But not the deputy, too. Yeah. Scam trails. Sure, there is this. I don't know, folks. I get to this at the times where I had someone come back and write me, and they said, well, now you did it. You're right. If Jesus lived, and you take your position on it, He would have never been associated with a religion. Never. And that was his whole thing, get the hell out of religion. So he never was a Christian. He was probably, if anything, more closely associated with the Sanhedrin. Maybe. Seemed to be a rebel on that. Maybe he was a rebel without a cause. I knew it. I knew Jesus was James Dean. I knew it. You could see it in his eyes. Gen X, Y, Z. There we go. William says, as a boomer, I was a living contact with some ancestors before the Civil War. Yeah. The irony. I know, isn't it true? It's the freaking irony. It's like, geez, crazy crap. It is. It's nuts. All right. So talking about Ghostland, I have gotten more requests on Ghostland. That's like Graham says, yeah, Jesus was a cynic. I think he was. Well, if he existed. I mean, I don't know who wrote those words. I've got no way of validating that any of it is real or any of it was said. The odds that a human being could sit down after 40 years and sit down and write something verbatim in first person, second person conversation, kiss my ass. Exactly how does that work? I digress. But I was asking for a friend. Exactly how does that work? You see, in the occult, we know what that is. That's channeling. We're familiar with it. Doesn't freak us out. Doesn't, send us off into a tizzy. We get it. Now, the question is, who and what is doing the channeling? Just seems like they have an agenda. That's all I'm saying. You can't get those words. I mean, it would be like, let's say Scotty Boy and I had a conversation 45 years ago. We met, whatever, at a concert. And then we became good friends. But it was only for a short period of time. And then we drifted off. But yet, I can come back some 40 years later in some cases, like 70 years, and I can write to you exactly every word that was spoken. Would you believe me? Hell no. You'd say, Wayne, you're making up that shit, man. That didn't happen. Well, sure it did. Paradox says, we all channel ain't that the truth? We do. Every day. I mean, we're these, freaking antennas, that signal goes in and goes out. I mean, that's how it is. My baptism wasn't my idea from the moment I was a sinner. I'm still trying to figure out, in fact, the real thing is there is no sin. No. I mean, if sin exists, it's because it violates someone else's rules. Well, screw you. That's your rules. Well, you'll get penalized if you don't go by the rules. Yeah, bring it on. That's what my memories are all about. Bring it on. Let's see the penalty. Because that's control. So if there's no sin, everything is permissible. Everything. Now, Christians can't handle that. Muslims and all the rest, they can't handle that. But I didn't say it. It was the creep that wrote those words, Paul. The little wizard himself. That's what he said. All things are permissible. Not everything is profitable. So where's the sin? Party on. Let's go on. Smoke them if you got them and pass them around if you don't. That's how I got to look at it. All right. So we want to get back to our friend in Ghostland. So I'm going to do this. By the way, working with Ryder Lee and with Trina, we're trying to get something set up, but it's going to be cool. So, boy, where did the time go? Where does the time go? Remember that? Yeah, Grateful Dead, Uncle John's band. That's all I got to say. Jen says, all is vanity. Isn't that what Solomon said? The end of his life, he said, it's for nothing. For nothing. For nothing. Wow. I mean, there's evidence that there's another side, but how many of you seen the room that Janis Joplin died in? You know, where she overdosed. There's supposedly some recording that, you know, she said that on the other side that she said that it was the pain and I did not expect to die. Well, and isn't that what Michael Jackson said too? When he was actually dying, told his doctor, he says, I'm dying. I don't want to go. Something like that. You don't want to be in that kind of condition. Now, when the time comes, just realize you had your time here. You got further adventures, you know, giddy up on the horse, you know, saddle up and let's get this rodeo on down the road, right? That's the way I see it. Solomon, Melchizedek, and Osiris. That's a hell of a crew. I could dig that. Yeah, me and my Bobby McGee. Wow. Every time I think of that album, Pearl, I am drawn back. I know there's this one particular memory, and it was like in August 1970, the Montrose area, Houston, Texas. Wow. Anyway, I won't tell you what happened after that, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, that's true, Dirty Filth. Yeah. You know, that's the way I look at it. All right. All right. So let's get into our story. I do like this story. It's, again, take it for what you have. But so in this chapter, we deal with Professor Mueller, the great scientist and mathematician, Constance. She's the blonde-headed young woman, the victim, and how a flying soul becomes an immortal spirit. Now, due to time, I'll kind of let you know. So our friend here, he is at school. He has his mentor, and he's in college. He talks about the college buildings occupied by the professors and employees attached to the university of which I became a student. Resided a mathematical teacher whom I shall designate Professor Mueller. This gentleman held a distinguished place in the ranks of science and was also one of the secret society associated with myself and Professor von Mark. He was a sullen, cold, ungenial man. And though esteemed for his scientific attainments and regarded by our society as a powerful mesmeric operator, hypnotizer, he was generally disliked and was particularly repulsive to the sensitives whom he occasionally hypnotized. Professor von Mark had always carefully isolated me from every magnetic influence but his own, and though I was consequently never required to submit to the control of Herr Mueller, his very presence was so antipathetic to me that it was remarked my highest conditions of lucidity could never be evolved when he was by. He did not often attend the seances, however, in which I was engaged, although he belonged to our group, as well as others to which I was not admitted. Professor Mueller's chief interest, in my eyes, was his relationship to a charming young lady of some years older than myself, but one of whom I cherished a sentiment which I now can only liken to the adoration of a humble Voltaire of his saint. The truly Constance Mueller was worthy to be enshrined in any heart as a presiding angel. So I'm going to kind of skip ahead. So she's apparently a hot gal. Yeah, I could see that. And he had a crush on her. I think eventually he probably loved her. So she was like the housekeeper of this creep of, this Mueller cat. Now, let me give you the whole thing because I'll get into this. So what Mueller's deal was that he wanted to see if he could capture the essence, the spirit, the soul of a person in the midst of dying. Could you come in and capture that? And plus, I think the guy was a perv, just to be honest. Obviously, he was. And I found it was interesting. And so I'm going to read as we stop in here. He says, as for me, I listened to her remarks on this with strange misgivings. My own secret convictions were that the stern student of the occult had brought this beautiful young creature to the college with ulterior motives, in which his devotion to magical studies formed the leading idea. I may as well record here, as at any point of my narrative, that although I was deeply interested, nay, actually infatuated with the pursuits in which my clairvoyant susceptibilities had inducted me, I was never, from their very first commencement, satisfied that they were legitimate or helpful to the minds that were engaged in them. I felt the most implicit faith in the integrity and wisdom of Professor Van Mark, as well as an entire confidence in his affection for the paternal care of me. But here my confidence in any of my associates ended. Somehow, they all seemed to me to be men without souls. They were desperate, determined seekers into realms of being with which Earth had no sympathy, and which in consequence abstracted them from all human feelings or human emotion. Wow. The soulless ones. Not one of them that I can remember ever manifested a genial qualities or seemed to delight in social exercises. They were profound, philosophic, isolated men, pursuing from mere necessity or as a cloak to a stupendous secret of their existence, some scientific operation, yet in their innermost natures, lost to earth and its sweet humanities, living amongst men, but partaking neither in their vices nor their virtues. And can I just say this again to the person who wrote to me about your belief in the Savior? Hey, if you want that, that's fine. My whole point to that, what I said last week, was that if you take the vile away from us, you might as well take the virtuous part of us. You can't split it apart and then say that we're the same species. Anyway, he says, in their companionship, I felt abandoned of my kind, bound, chained, and like Prometheus, to the realms of the mysterious existence whom these men had subdued to their service. I often fancied myself a doomed soul, shut out forever from the tender and trustful associations of mortality, and swallowed up in an ocean of awe and mysticism, from which there was none to save, none to help me. If the knowledge I had purchased was indeed a reality, there were times when I deemed it was neither good nor lawful for man to possess it. I often envied the peaceful unconsciousness of the outer world, and would gladly have gone back to the simple faith of my childhood, and then have closed my eyes in eternal sleep sooner than awaken to the terrible unrest which has possessed me since I had crossed the safe boundaries of the visible and entered upon the illimitable waste of the invisible. This is pretty deep. I mean, but I think we all know that. Yeah, as children. Again, my childhood wasn't all hunky-dory like that. So, you know. And now, methought, Constance, the fair, gentle, and loving-hearted orphan, Constant, who so yearned for affection that she was content in her isolation to cling even to a young boy like me, was to become their victim, to be introduced into the cold, unearthly realms of half-formed spiritual existences, lose all her precious womanly attributes, and with fixed, wild glances piercing the invisible, stare away from the faces of her fellow mortals to the grotesque lineaments of goblins, the forms of sylphs, and the horrible rudiments of imperfect being that fill the realms of space, mercifully hidden from the eyes of ordinary mortals. Constance, I knew, longed for this knowledge, and whether prompted by suggestions of her remorseless relative or fired with the spear of influence which he projected from his resolved mind, I could not tell. Certain it was that she had obtained some clue to the pursuits in which I was engaged, and was perpetually plying me with questions and attempts to elicit information concerning them. To this, though, I felt as if I was betraying the interest of my beloved master, and I invariably returned answers clothed in disagreeing words and hints of warnings. All would not avail. So, I want to continue to push forward. So, the night comes where Constance is brought to the group of men. And what they did to her, well, we'll read a little bit here. Says, I saw them enter a coach. So this is Mueller and Constance, which was waiting for them at the gate, and ran hastily in their track. I heard the professor direct the driver to set them down in that remote quarter of the town where the meetings of the Brotherhood were held. Gone to the sacrifice, I mentally exclaimed. Constant, thou art doomed, sold to a world of demons here and hereafter. 2 evenings after this, as I was taking my solitary walk in the college grounds, a quick step pursued me. A hand was laid lightly on my shoulder, and I looked up and beheld Constance Mueller, a transfigured being. Her eyes gleamed with a strange, unearthly light. Her head seemed to be thrown upwards as if spurning the earth and seeking kindred with the stars. Her cheeks burned with a deep helic flush, and a singular air of triumph sat on her beautiful lips as she thus accosted me. Thou false page! How long wouldst thou have kept the mistress to whom thou had sworn fealty, imprisoned in the darkness of earthly captivity, when realms of light and glory and wonder are waiting for me, for her to enter in and possess? Constance, where have you been? Where I shall someday meet you, my young Palladian, in the land of light, for an entrance to which my soul has yearned ever since I could look up from the chill world of materialism and feel that it must be vitalized and fired by a world of spiritualism. Yes, Lewis, I know now the secrets of your nightly wanderings, and I too can traverse space. I too can commune with the soul of things. And in an enfranchised liberty, the inner self of Constance can roam the spheres of infinity and pierce the secrets of eternity. Wow. Alas, I murmured, and then unable to explain even to myself the unspeakable grief that filled my heart. So he's hung his head. He said, for a few weeks, Constance Mueller lived in the ecstasy of the pioneer who had discovered a new world and deems himself as a sovereign. I never could convey to her in language my own deep sense of man's inaptitude to commune with worlds of beings at once foreign and repulsive to his mortality. But she saw, and in her wonderfully sympathetic nature, appreciated the emotions I could not shape into words, and the glory of triumph power over and through the invisible. However, the neophyte, could not share the thoughts which some years of experience had forced upon me as convictions. So, I can see I'm getting late on time. So I kind of give you what happened here. So apparently, Constance is being used in these seances because she has this ability, much like young Lewis does, of being able to astral project. And she is good at it. At every seance she attended, her spirit, attenuating like the thread of a long-drawn light, invariably floated away as its first and most powerful attraction to whatever place I happened to be in, sometimes poring over my books in a quiet little chamber, sometimes dreamily watching the ripples of the dancing fountain which played in the college square, not unfrequently wandering in the arcades of the thick woods that skirted the town, and at times stretched on the grass watching. So she really got this down, and she was actually visiting Lewis while she was in the astral realms. He said, I had lost all sympathy at home or abroad, alone or in the midst of a crowd, wherever I chanced to be, when the enfranchised soul of the beautiful Constance broke its prison bounds and went free. Save for the magnetic spell of her operators, it invariably sought me out, and like a wreath of pale, sunlit mist, floated some 2 feet above the ground in bodily form and presented before me. Accustomed to the phenomenon of the double goer, this phantom neither surprised nor disturbed me. My spiritual experience enabled me to perceive that during the few moments that the spirit of the sensitive was passing into the magnetic sleep, hypnotized, and before her magnetizers had yet full control of her, the instinctive attractions of her nature drew her to the boy whom she had already discovered to be her worshiper, the only being, perhaps, to whom she had drawn by the ties of affection, with which her loving nature was replete. He said, all this I knew and should have rejoiced in had I not known the phantom of the victim presented unmistakable tokens of being a sacrifice, and that an unpitied one to the dark magicians with whom she was so fatally associated with. In the vision of the flying soul of Constance, that's apparently what they call that, there was no speculation in the fixity of the lustrous eyes. The form reposed as if on air, and the long, sunny curls would almost sweep the ground at my feet, but the look of hopeless sorrow and blank despair, which had grown to be the permanent expression on her waking features, was even more piteously depicted on the magnetic side. She did not see me, touch, or know me, but the bruised spirit fled unconsciously to the shelter of the only presence that would, if it could, have saved her, and then passed away, to the bidding of the remorseless men that had possessed themselves, as I then thought of her hopeless soul. Had enough time. So long story short, she gets it. She says, so she materializes to Lewis here. and I may go a little bit over. She says, Lewis, you think the men who have entrapped us, both body and soul, in their foul, magical meshes are good and pure, even if they are cold and ungenial in their devotion to their awful studies. Lewis, you are mistaken. I bear witness to you at this last, and perhaps the only act by which I may ever serve you on earth, that some of them are impious, inhuman, and heaven, how monstrously impure. Says, Constance, you amaze me. She said, don't interrupt me. I'm injured past all reparation. You may be snatched from the vortex which pollutes the body and blasts the soul. But for me, would the end were to come. She says, and so getting in the further of this, says, I have seen the end, she added, when she had succeeded in calming me. And I know that impatient as I am for its coming, it will not be long delayed. I shall enter into the realms of light and glory, for these dreadful men have only abused my helpless spirit, so long as it is imprisoned in my weak body and its connecting forces. They have not touched its integrity, nor can they maintain their hold upon one instant after it has severed the chain which binds the immortal to the mortal. When that is broken, I shall be free and happy. So Constance realizes what's happening here. I mean, she's being set up. Long and the short of it is, she is murdered by Mueller. So I'm going to stop there because I'm getting a little bit over on this one. Oh, it's a great story. So she's murdered. We may get into this later. And he tries to do whatever the hell he was trying to do to capture that moment of her soul. But the murder and the way that he did it sent her to this place called Ghostland. There are a lot of people there. A lot of people. Apparently, a lot of them ain't people either. And apparently, if you are sent or end up in Ghostland, as we're going to find out, it's a son of a bitch to get out. Now, in Constance's case, she was murdered and she was trapped there. She was trapped in the agony of that moment of her life being deprived of her. I mean, that's the problem with murder. You are taking what fate and destiny did not have planned. These people had lives. There was a life plan for them that they had planned out. But when another human takes that, well, there's a price to that. And what Mueller is about to find out, there's only one way that she, Constance, gets out. It's by Mueller going in. All right, there we go. Hey, it's a break from the craziness that's out there in the world today, folks. Yeah, it's a great thing. I don't know if this place exists. It's interesting. In many of my travels, I would say it's a pretty fair, accurate description. But the fact is that we know you can travel outside. Just don't sever the cord, baby. Brian says, we all might be going to Ghostland. Well, if we do, we're going to party. You know, hey, listen, I don't know if they had rock and roll 10,000 years ago, but we're bringing it no matter where we go after this life. Once we sever that cord and we shed the mortal aspect, that prize, that glory, that we experience mortality and we exchange it for the immortal aspects of who and what we are, hey, man, we bring the party with us. And they can see us now. We cross over. All right. You know, and I don't know if they got good stuff. I mean, I don't know. Can you get high in the other realms? I don't know. Can you get depressed? I don't know. Okay, everybody. Mary, thank you. You have good day on yourself, my dear. Anyway. All right, folks, I could sit here another hour doing this, but I got stuff to do. I know you do too. So thanks for listening. Thanks for hitting the like button. And hey, we're going to talk more about Ghostland. I want to talk to JD and Yurik and Nina about this. I mean, is this, places exist. I mean, if someone came up from Australia and got put in the middle of Colorado, would they know what Colorado was? Would they know what Colorado is? What they would know is the topography. They say, well, there are mountains around here. So now we just call it mountains. You get it. Mary, you're welcome. All right, folks, stay strong. That's all I got to say. It's the best way to be. Yeah, they can't bring us down. They can't turn us around. They can jack with us, but yeah. Thank you, Lori. Yeah, the bus is pulling into the rest stop. We'll pick up here tomorrow as we continue this journey with Miss Trina. And I don't know, maybe Ryder too, but in any case, favor right back at you, Lost in Space. Thank you all. All right.